What is going on, Chicago Bears fans? Thank you so much for tuning in to my Friday night live stream. I'm super excited to do this. Hopefully, I can do this every Friday, make it a tradition here on KIEQ on the mic. But how's everyone doing tonight? I know there's been a lot of crazy news for the Chicago Bears, but how is everyone doing tonight? So before I get this live stream started, I just want to say thank you once again for joining me for this live stream. And if you know any other Bears fans, if this is your first time for tuning into the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on KIEQ on the mic. And if you know any Bears fans, share it to them. Tell them to hit the subscribe button. We are growing. Obviously, I think it was last week the channel finally hit 2K in subscribers, which was a pretty big deal for me. You know, I've only been doing this for a year, and the outpouring of love and support of the channel and the supporters that support the channel since day one, I haven't forgotten you guys, and I thank you guys so much. It means the world to me. I love the Chicago Bears. So do you guys. You guys show so much passion. You guys engage with me in every single video, and I am just truly grateful for your guys' support of the channel. So make sure you share the channel. Tell them to hit that subscribe button, because now we're on the road to 3,000 subs, and we'll just continue to grow and grow and grow. And this channel wouldn't be where it's at today without the support from you guys. So thank you, and thank you. So like I said, this is something I'm going to want to do probably every Friday. You know, the Bears have been super busy, right? They have been pedal to the metal ever since they fired Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace about, I think it's like 2-3 weeks ago now that they released Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, and they have been pedal to the metal. Like there's been no hesitation on filling these different positions, and it's just been absolutely insane. What's going on, Connor? Thanks for tuning in, man. How you doing? I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, I wouldn't be doing this without your guys' continued support. So, you know, give yourselves a lot of credit for allowing me to continue to do what I love to do, and that's talking about the Chicago Bears on this platform. So, thank you for tuning in, guys. So, yeah, the Bears have been pedal to the metal. They're not playing around. Obviously, you know, they did a pretty extensive search for their next GM and head coach, where they, you know, had a panel of 5. I kept you guys updated on all that. But once they got Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus in the mix, it was pedal to the metal to get the coaches all set up and get things rolling. So it's been absolutely fast. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the Chicago Bears news, which is why it was easy for me to just say, you know what, let's just do a live stream every Friday to catch up on the news. And this is also your guys' opportunity to ask me any questions you guys may have, right? So if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them to me, and we can just have a nice conversation on the Chicago Bears today. So yeah, like I said, though, obviously the Bears were pedal to the metal ever since they brought in Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus to be the next regiment here in Chicago. And let's take a look at it, because I actually have some slides prepared for you guys on this live stream. So when you look at it, let's look at the leadership right here. So obviously when you look at it, they brought in Ryan Poles to be the new GM. He's only 36 years old, nice and young. Obviously you guys seen my videos on him. 13 years experience, coming from Kansas City. And then he goes out and gets an assistant GM, Ian Cunningham. Also has extensive experience, and he's only 35 years old. So he brings in that guy, comes from a Super Bowl winning background where he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles and the Ravens. So he knows how to build rosters. And the fun thing about both Poles and Cunningham are that they are ex-offensive linemen, and that's something that the Bears are craving, is a good offensive line. So I'm anticipating that they're going to go heavy offensive line this offseason. So that's going to be exciting. And, of course, they brought in Matt Eberflus to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears, the 17th head coach of the Chicago Bears. So he's a defensive guy. Obviously, a lot of people, including myself, were hoping that they would get an offensive head coach, but they opted to go defense. Before this process, I said it straight up. The Bears weren't looking for a defensive guy or an offensive guy. They were looking for a leader of men, right? So, and that's what they did. I think Matt is a great leader. I know there's like this running joke saying, well, they fired Ryan and Matt and they hired Ryan and Matt 2.0. I think this Ryan and Matt should work out for the Chicago Bears this time around. But I feel like the more and more I think about it, I think we should be cautiously optimistic about the people that are bringing into the organization. And it seems like for once the McCaskies are slowly starting to take a step back, and they're going to let Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham take control of this thing, which is outstanding because Cunningham and Poles are huge football guys that I think they're going to get our organization going in the right direction. So I'm excited to see how it goes. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining the live stream. This is something I'm going to start doing every Friday as long as time allows. And we're just going to come on here and have a good time. You can ask me questions, talk about the Chicago Bears, and I know there's a lot of stuff going on that sometimes I can't keep up with. So we're going to go over all the stuff today, including offseason moves that I think predictions of free agency as well. And then, of course, I may even give you guys my mock draft 1.0. So thanks for tuning in. How you doing, Adam? So Adam has a question, and Adam asks, should the Bears re-sign Montgomery with the emergence of Herbert? In my opinion, not signing Monty can save cap for O-line and wide receivers. And this is something that I was reading before I hopped on the live stream. You know, I think you can always find replacement running backs, but I just feel like Montgomery hasn't even really hit his ceiling yet. You have to think what he has been able to do with a subpar offensive line. So just imagine if you bring in a really good offensive line, right, and get him some pieces up front. Just imagine how good Montgomery will be and how he will be able to take his game to the next level. It would be absolutely insane. Yes, I understand what people are saying, you know, save cap, get offensive linemen and wide receivers, but it's like we've seen what Herbert can do without Montgomery. But if we got rid of Montgomery, he would have to be the full-time back. And yes, we saw a little glimpse of what he can do. To me, I really like Montgomery. I really like what he brings to the table. So in my personal opinion, I would keep David Montgomery in the fold. But that's just me. Montgomery's a hard runner. He's always going forward. I was really upset when they got rid of Jordan Howard. I was a big Jordan Howard guy. So hopefully Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears, you know, opt to keep David Montgomery and, you know, just have that two-headed monster with Montgomery and Herbert. I think that would be the best route to go. Yeah, if you're just joining the live stream, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to the channel and you're just now finding me, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you share the channel with any other Bears fans you may know. So thanks for joining. So I was just talking about how the Bears been pedal to the metal. Obviously, they brought in GM Ryan Poles. He got the assistant GM Ian Cunningham. Both have extensive experience. I think they're going to really attack this offensive line. And now the next step is Matt Eberflus creating his coaching staff. So he's doing pretty well so far. He's doing pretty well so far when you look at the coaching staff. What's going on, Joseph? Thanks so much for joining the live stream. I appreciate you, man. So when you look at the coaching staff, right, they already brought in offense coordinator Luke Getsy, you know, and there's been, once again, you can say that with the new hires, as fans, I think we are all cautiously optimistic about the future of the Chicago Bears, right? And that's how I feel about Luke Getsy. You know, I watch one Packers podcast. His name is Tom Grossi, and he says that the Bears got it right with Luke Getsy. You know, he said that he was a huge part of what the Packers were able to do on offense. Well-respected guy around the league, and he said that Luke Getsy should be able to get Justin Fields to the next level. And what I'm starting to notice with Eberflus, right, he's bringing in these guys that have connection to the Shanahan tree, which is huge because I feel that Justin Fields, that's the offense that fits him, is that Kyle Shanahan tree. So Luke Getsy is a start. Obviously, we're optimistic that he can get Justin Fields to the next level. And how I put it, guys, is he can't be any worse than Matt Nagy. And that's just my personal opinion. He can't be any worse than Matt Nagy. So we got Luke Getsy. Obviously, we got defensive coordinator Alan Williams. He follows Eberflus from the Colts. Really successful over there together while they were with the Colts. And this one is kind of I was kind of iffy about. He has a lot of experience. Obviously, he was a defensive coordinator for the Vikings back in 2012 and 2013 for 2 years. It didn't really go well, but at the same time, he didn't really have a lot of talent on the roster. When you look at this defensive roster, he has a lot of talent. So we'll see if he's learned from his mistakes, and maybe he comes over and he actually does really well. We just have to, have some faith, and hopefully he can do really well with this defense. Special teams coach. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be Rich Bisaccia. I don't really know how to pronounce that. The interim head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. He did an excellent job once John Gruden started acting like a dummy. He took over for the Raiders and led them to the playoffs. So I think this would be an absolutely massive hire. And this is one of the things that people were saying about Matt Eberflus is that everyone wants to coach with him. So that's how you can tell that he's a well-respected guy within the organization, because everyone's trying to come over and coach with Eberflus. So, and that's not something you saw with Matt Nagy. When Matt Nagy got hired from Kansas City, not one person wanted to come and coach with Matt Nagy. So I think that's pretty interesting. What's going on, Bailey? Thank you for joining the live stream. I appreciate you. The question that you have for me is, what will the Bears do for a backup QB behind Fields? With the new proposed offensive scheme, Foles wouldn't work, right? They need a backup that has Fields' skill set, mobility, and arm. So what I've been seeing, and these are just rumors, and obviously this is not someone that I would have thought of, but what I'm hearing is that possibly Trevor Siemian will come and be Justin Fields' backup. But it can honestly be anyone. You can honestly wait until the draft's over and get an undrafted free agent, right, that has basically the same skill set as Justin Fields, and you can bring them along too. But what I'm hearing right now is Trevor Siemian, which has kind of been a journeyman around the NFL. Would he be a good backup? I don't know. But that's what I'm hearing right now. Personally, for me, and I know he wouldn't do this, but wouldn't it be interesting if we can bring back Mitch Trubisky? Has similar skill set, but I do know that Mitch wants another opportunity as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And now that the news has come out saying that he basically got sabotaged, I think Mitch Trubisky will get another chance. But that would be kind of cool if Mitch Trubisky got another chance. What's going on, Bear Down? Thanks for joining the live stream. If you're just now joining the live stream, thank you so much. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and share the podcast to any Bears fans that you know. We're on the road to 3K, and I thank you guys so much for all the support that you guys show me with every single video that I post. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without all of your guys' support, so thank you guys so much. Yeah, so we were going over the coaching staff that Eberflus is assembling right now, and it's pretty impressive. I like what he's doing so far. Obviously, we're able to get Rich Bisaccia as special teams coach. That would be a huge hire. Obviously, QB coach Andrew Janocko. He's coming over for the Minnesota Vikings. We don't have a running backs coach yet. Wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert. Pretty good hire. Tight end coach. Still looking for a tight ends coach. O-line coach, we got Chris Morgan from the Steelers. Has a lot of experience with offensive linemen. The rumor right now for defensive line is Rob Marinelli, and I would absolutely love that. For cornerbacks coach, we got James Rowe, which I've been reading a lot of Colts Instagram posts and podcasts on James Rowe. They say he's absolutely a credible coach, so that should be really good for us, especially when we're trying to get our cornerbacks to have a little bit more production in this next season. We're still looking for a safeties coach, and then the assistant defensive backs coach is David Overstreet II. So it's starting to round out, and now it seems like their focus is starting to lean on the draft, right? So that's the importance of getting all your coaches set so you can start getting ready and prepare for free agency, offseason, draft, all that good stuff. So I got a question from Adam. How you doing, Adam? Thanks for joining the live stream. Adam asks, Who do you think is going to be the biggest cut or trade over the offseason? You know, I've been hearing rumors, and these are just rumors. I think this is what I'm hearing from fans. What fans seem to want is Tariq Cohen to be cut. And if that's the case, I think that would be the biggest cut of the offseason for me. Obviously, I think Danny Trevathan's gone. Akeem Hicks is on the fence, of course. But when I look at big cuts, I think Tariq Cohen, if he's cut, would be the biggest surprise. 'Cause I still feel like, even though he hasn't played in about a couple of years now, I feel like Tariq Cohen has so much potential, and he has so much to offer to this football team. And I think Luke Getsy would be able to use him in different ways. If you guys watched my video the other day of the 9 offseason moves I would make, I would convert Tariq Cohen into a offensive weapon role, kind of like a Deebo Samuel or Cordell Patterson. I think that would be smart for the Bears to do. And the biggest trade, honestly, for me over the offseason, and I pray that they don't do this, but for some reason, and I know people may think I'm crazy, but sometimes I feel like they're considering trading Khalil Mack, which I don't know why. I guess when you look at his production over the last couple of years, he's kind of had trouble staying healthy. But if they do decide to trade Khalil Mack, it would suck, but it is a business. But do I think they're going to do it? No, but something gives me that inch of a weird feeling that they would consider trading Khalil Mack if the price was right. If you're just now joining the live stream, thank you so much. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all you guys joining the live stream. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and type them in the chat, and we will answer your questions. Have a nice conversation for the next hour. All Chicago Bears. The Bears are full steam ahead in their offseason. Paleo Chicago Bears, what's up? How you doing? Paleo Chicago Bears asked, what do you think we'll do with Sam Mustipher this offseason? I don't think Sam Mustipher should be completely off the Chicago Bears. I think he could still be a pretty valuable backup. He just doesn't need to be the starter anymore. If you look at a couple seasons ago when he came in as a backup, he played pretty well down the stretch, but then this last season, he was just absolutely terrible. So, in my personal opinion, I think you can re-sign Mustipher to a nice little one-year deal, bring him in as a backup. But that means you have to make sure you get a replacement at center, either via free agency or draft. Joseph Archer, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Joseph's question is, what do you think the Bears are going to do with the offensive line help? I think they're going to be all offensive line. Ryan Poles made that very clear in many interviews and in the press conferences that offensive line is where you build a franchise. So they're going to start with the offensive line, and then they're going to go, into the next steps. But them being ex-offensive linemen, they have an offensive lineman mentality. They have that mindset, and I think they're going to do everything possible to make sure the Bears' offensive line is ready to go. So I think I said in my last podcast that there's guys like, I think it's like Brian Allen. He's a center from the Rams I mentioned. Of course, there's going to be some good linemen in the draft. I can't really think on the top of my head, but there's going to be some options out there for the Bears to really revamp this O-line as soon as this offseason. Don Bird, a Detroit Lions fan, he loves commenting on my stuff, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on and watching the live stream and saying Detroit versus everybody, and I absolutely love the energy. Obviously, hopefully you guys get better pretty soon. I think it was another 3-win season for you guys, so hopefully you guys get better soon. Once again, if you're just now joining the live stream, thank you so much for joining the live stream. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let everybody else know about the podcast. We're on the road to 3K, and I won't be able to do it without your guys' help, and I appreciate you guys all so much. Bailey has a question. Bailey asks, will A-Rob move on, or will he want to stay now that Matt Nagy is gone? Well, you guys heard those rumors and reports about Matt Nagy basically sabotaging him. He didn't have an exit interview with Allen Robinson. So I think Ryan Poles will at least have a conversation with Allen Robinson. And if we can re-sign Allen Robinson, I'm totally okay with that. If we don't re-sign Allen Robinson, there's obviously a lot of options in free agency. and the draft. So there's going to be no shortage of wide receivers in this offseason. So I'm excited to see what happens. But overall, I hope they can get that relationship straightened out with Allen Robinson, because it would absolutely be awesome to keep him in Chicago. It's going to be interesting offseason, guys. Honestly, I can't really predict everything that's going to happen, but I think one thing I know for sure is that the Bears are going to attack this offseason all offensive linemen. I think they're going to have an offensive lineman mindset. I think they're gonna sign probably a good amount of offensive linemen, including their own free agents, and I think they're gonna attack in the draft too, offensive linemen, because they understand that if you're able to keep Justin Fields upright, teams are in trouble. Teams are absolutely in trouble. Gus asks, what if you get 3 picks for Mack to number? I think you're asking if we get a first round pick. If someone came and said, hey, we'll give you a first, a third, and maybe a next year second, it may be tough for the Chicago Bears to turn that down. Obviously, we don't have a first round pick. Obviously, Khalil Mack's production has been down, but I think he's just still that guy. He makes our defense better, and I don't think anyone can complain about that. So it would be really hard for me to get rid of Khalil Mack, but I don't know. It's just, obviously if someone wants that salary cap too, it would save some cap space. But at the same time, I love Khalil Mack and what he brings to the table for the Chicago Bears. And how do you guys feel about the hires? Like, are you guys content with how everything's going? Or do you guys like Ryan Poles? Do you guys like Ian Cunningham? Do you guys like Matt Eberflus? Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Don Burr is a Bears fan. He's always in my posts, in my live streams. He's commenting on my videos, and that's okay. If for some reason the Lions piss you off too much, you can always come over to Chicago and be a Bears fan. It's okay. Yeah, Gus, I agree with you. If someone's throwing around some first-round picks, some high first-round picks in this year's draft for Khalil Mack, you really have to weigh your pros and cons. Like, man, obviously we have Travis Gibson that had a pretty good second year. Obviously, Robert Quinn, he's older, but he was really productive, right? And Khalil Mack has kind of been injured the last couple of years. Production's been down. If I can get into the first round, hey, you may have to consider it. You may have to consider it. We got a lot of aging players on this defense. That's the thing, and that's why it's so important for the Bears to get better soon. Like, we're kind of in a rush now for the Bears to be relevant again, because this is an aging defense. They're still a pretty good defense, but they're definitely aging, especially our pass rushers. Yeah, Joseph, I agree with you. I just want to win the Super Bowl. That's all I want to do. If the Bears, and I'm kind of encouraged after this season. Obviously, you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that the Chicago Bears beat, by the way. They're in the Super Bowl. So technically, if the Bengals win, the Bears are Super Bowl champions. That's how I put it. I agree with you, Mike Ross. It's not Nagy and it's not Pace. How could it be worse? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm just trying to keep the positivity for all the Bears fans. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. Oh, good to know, Adam. Don Burr is always in the Chicago Bears Now streams as well, so they have to be a Bears. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. He should just go ahead and say bear down in the chat. I agree with Bailey as well. Bailey says, I think the Bears want to unleash a healthy Mack and Robert Quinn on defense, and I totally agree. Can you imagine? And this is what people are not understanding. Eberflus's defense is a 4-3, and a lot of people say we don't have the personnel. Shit, we have the personnel to run a 4-3. Do you guys know what that means? A 4-3 means that Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn are going to be DNs. They're going to have their hand in the dirt. That is absolutely insane. The last time Khalil Mack was a DN, when he was with the Raiders, he won Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely insane to think about that. And that was via my dad. My dad said, son, you do realize that since we're on a 4-3, they're going to have their hand in the dirt. So it's going to be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, Mike Ross, I feel the same way. It's like, obviously last year, the Bears beat the Buccaneers. They go on to win the Super Bowl. So I guess that means the Bengals are going to win. And if that's the case, the Bears may happen to be good luck. That means their time may be coming. That means 2 years in a row, the Bears could have beat the Super Bowl champion. I got a question. Your thoughts on free agent wide receivers? Man, it's loaded. Even the guys that are hurt, like Michael Gallup or Chris Godwin, you may be able to get those guys for cheap, and they're going to end up being huge steals. Or you have Mike Williams. Obviously, Allen Robinson is still on the table. Christian Kirk. I know the Bears have been rumored to maybe trade for Calvin Ridley. The options are endless. So it's super exciting to see what the Bears do at receiver, because obviously Darnell Mooney is the only one under contract. So we got to figure out something. We have to figure out something on the receivers. But it's an impressive group of wide receivers, not only in free agency, but in the draft. If you're joining the live stream just now, thank you so much for joining me. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right on the podcast. And let everyone else know about the podcast. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. I think we're less than 500 subscribers away from hitting that 3,000 mark. So make sure you share the channel with every single Bears fan that you know. And let's get it to 3,000. I appreciate all you guys. Adam asks, who would be our front seven in a new 4-3 defense? I think how they would set it up, if I can imagine it correctly, so it would be four D linemen, right? So I would have Travis Gibson on the outside, and then I would put Khalil Mack at DN. You have Robert Quinn at DN. Obviously, if you keep Eddie Goldman, you have Eddie Goldman right in that middle, right? It would just be an absolutely, oh man. I have like really good dreams about them being in that 4-3 defense. I think this 4-3 defense should elevate this Chicago Bears defense. That's just my personal opinion. That line will be nasty. There's so many guys that you can put on that defensive line. Oh, man. Like, just imagining Khalil Mack's hand in the dirt and him just not having to worry about dropping back into coverage. It's going to be a nightmare. Once again, thank you so much for joining the live stream. If you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat, and we can have a nice little conversation. And like I said, if you haven't seen my last video, I just released my mock draft 1.0. If you go check out that video, I may even talk about it a little bit here on the live stream today. I also have some questions that came in when I posted in the community. So I'll answer those questions as well as we go through this live stream. I appreciate all the questions that I'm getting. And I appreciate you guys joining the live stream. I really, really, really appreciate it. Because without you guys, there would be no KIEQ on the mic. Yeah, Joseph, I agree with you. A-Rob never really had a good quarterback. This is his chance. With Justin Fields, if they can create that connection, I think it would be a beautiful thing. Obviously, Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields had a really good season. So if we can get Allen Robinson to re-sign and they create that connection, we have your wide receiver 1 and 2. And you could still go out and get a guy like Calvin Ridley or Christian Kirk, right, to add to the fold. Or, you can still go sign Mike Williams from the Chargers and bring him in. That would be a really good. That would be really, really good receivers on the roster. Yeah, Gus, that's good. That's really good thinking, honestly. If you really think about it, I'm not sure if anyone will give us 2 first-round picks for Khalil Mack at this point. They may say, hey, we'll give you a first and a third this year and a second next year because he's still that much of a game changer. But I'm not sure if anyone will be willing to give us 2 first-round picks. That would be nice, though. If someone came and said, hey, we'll give you 2 first-round picks and a third for Khalil Mack this year, I would have to trade him, honestly. Mack just needs to gain 30 pounds, and he can be Aaron Donald. Can you guys believe that we were 1 pick away from getting Aaron Donald back in 2014? Absolutely crazy. Adam asks, do you think the Bears will try to sign Tampa Bay center Ryan Jensen? He is set to be a free agent. I surely hope so. You know what I like about Ryan Jensen's game is he's nasty. He's a brawler. He's just, man. And I like those nasty linemen that are strong and they're not scared to just get in your face, right? He has that nice dirty game about him, right? And sometimes the offensive linemen need to be dirty. So I surely hope that is one of their targets because that would be a perfect fit for Chicago and a major upgrade at center over Mustipher. Yeah, I'm starting to like what Eberflus is doing with this coaching staff. I think he's doing really well with assembling a good coaching staff, and all of them are leader of men. One thing I can say about this team, they're going to be disciplined. They're going to be well coached, and I do believe when Eberflus says that they're going to be the least penalized team. I truly do believe that. That was something that Matt Nagy had a problem with. We were a highly penalized team, undisciplined at times. And it's going to be definitely a breath of fresh air for this football team to bring in that leadership. My thoughts on Cole Kmet's ceiling. Oh, man, I think he still has the potential to be a really good tight end. Obviously, I think you let Jimmy Graham walk, and I think you just let Cole Kmet be the number 1 tight end. He's big. I think he has good hands. You saw him and Justin Fields kind of create that little connection, and it was a little, but I think I want to be able to see more. This year is a huge year for Cole Kmet. You know, I watched a lot of Notre Dame football, so obviously I was a big Cole Kmet guy coming in to the draft a couple of years ago. But I think his ceiling is still pretty high, especially now that you have that franchise quarterback in Khalil Mack. I mean, franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. How you doing, Cliff? Thanks for joining me on this live stream. I really, really appreciate it. Yes, any word on Raiders interim coach Bisaccia? Jags didn't sign him for head coach. Obviously, that went to Doug Peterson. Would make a nice addition as a special team coordinator. Absolutely. He has a ton of experience, and that would be a really good hire for Eberflus' staff. I really hope they're able to get him. But I haven't heard anything yet. But it sounds like it's going in that direction. Adam asks, do you believe the Bears will go after tackles in the offseason, or do you think they have faith in Jenkins and Borum to start? I truly like the 2 rookies. You know, obviously Borum played more than Jenkins, but I think we may be set at tackle. You know, maybe you could still bring in some tackles, maybe for some competition to keep them on their toes, but I think we may be set at tackle. Obviously, and that's a benefit for Ryan Poles because now we can just focus on interior offensive linemen. But one thing I want to see the Chicago Bears do is I think Tevin Jenkins should play right tackle. That's what he played in college, and I think we should put Borum at left. Yeah, I truly feel that the Bears, you know, a lot of people don't believe this. I truly do feel like the Bears are really close. I don't want to say Super Bowl quite yet. You know, I want to be optimistic, but I also have to be realistic. I don't think they're close to a Super Bowl, and things couldn't change, right? You bring in some guys via free agency and draft, and maybe they make that jump, right? Like the Bengals. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, right, I think that opens the door wide open for the NFC North. Obviously the Vikings are still going to be a pretty decent football team. We'll see how they do. I'm not really too worried about the Detroit Lions. I don't think they've beaten us. I don't even know. I think they beat us last year, but I'm not really worried about the Detroit Lions being a contender quite yet. And then if the Packers lose Aaron Rodgers, I think the door's wide open. So I think the Bears are closer than people think. How you doing, Andy? Thanks so much for your comment. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Any of those two guys in the second round. And options are endless for the Chicago Bears. Obviously, if you guys go watch my mock draft, I have them selecting safety Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. A true strong safety, something that the Bears have been looking for a long, long time. Yeah, Cliff, I totally agree. Monty and Herbert are going to be the Bears version of Jones and A.J. Dillon. Getsy is here now. Obviously, the Packers use A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones really well. And the Chicago Bears have a two-headed monster here in Chicago as well. So I'm excited to see those two guys get to work as soon as next season. What's going on, Jacob? Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you that you're subscribed to the channel and you like my videos. I really, really appreciate it. My pick for the Super Bowl, man, it's tough because I feel like the Bengals, they're legit, right? Obviously, they're in the Super Bowl. But if I had to choose right now on paper, I'm taking the Rams. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals end up winning. But I'm going to take the Rams in a very good game. Don Burr, I'm not worried about Detroit. You guys have to prove it to me before you guys, before you come in here and talk mess. I'm not really worried about Detroit. You guys have Jared Goff. If you guys come in next year and prove us wrong, I'll give you your props. You called it. But that's what all fans are going to say. All fans are optimistic when they get a fresh start, right? But you also have to be realistic. And truly, I think Jared Goff has hit his ceiling. And that's just my opinion. Yeah, Cliff, that's why I truly feel that Eddie Jackson can get back to form if we get a true strong safety, and that's why I like Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. Hard-hitting strong safety, not afraid to get his nose dirty. I think that would be a good pickup in draft for the Chicago Bears. Yeah, Andy, I have Alec Lindstrom in my first mock draft. Really like him at center. Obviously, the options are endless for the Chicago Bears. But definitely we need to get the offensive line figured out. Definitely need to get the offensive line figured out. Adam asks, who do you think is going to be the Bears' biggest free agency signing? Man. I think it's going to not be like a sexy pick that all Bears fans like, but I think it's going to be some big-time offensive lineman or receiver. I think if it's an offensive lineman, Bears fans will be happy because we need offensive linemen. But if I had to guess, I think our big prize free agent this year is going to be Mike Williams, wide receiver from the Chargers. I think he's going to come to Chicago. Someone asked, what do you think they are going to do at cornerback? Obviously you have Jalen Johnson. I think Thomas Graham Jr. showed some nice tape last season. But other than that, you can re-sign Artie Burns. He's pretty good. I think there's some rumors going around that the Bears may target Tre'Davious Ward, cornerback from the Chiefs, which would be a nice little pickup. Obviously, you can look at the draft to get some cornerback help. But I think they're going to have to get that figured out as well. But I think in free agency, they're going to go deep cornerback and offensive lineman. Paleo Chicago Bears asked, since Fields spoke at the press conference, do you think the players are happy with Poles and Eberflus? I get the sense that they are. Yeah, I do too. I think they like him. I think they just want a fresh start. And that's what Justin Fields said. He's excited to get work. He feels like it's a clean slate for him. So I think he's really, really excited to get to work with this new regimen. And I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah, Bailey. Bailey said some people say we should go after Christian Kirk of the Arizona Cardinals for free agency. I don't know much about his skill set. He kind of he's kind of a smaller, I would say smaller receiver, kind of like a Darnell Mooney type. Plays a lot in the slot. I wouldn't mind picking up Christian Kirk. I think he would be valuable, a valuable piece, pretty explosive wide receiver, and I think that's what Ryan Poles is looking for. They're looking for explosive guys, and something that we have to think about in terms of receiver. You bring Tariq Cohen back. Hopefully, he gets back to form. You re-sign Jakeem Grant. You can use him on the offense, right? You still have Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney. Maybe you bring in Mike Williams. So I think us getting some valuable receivers could be possibly an easy fix for the Chicago Bears. Cliff asks, Gallup or Williams in free agency? If Gallup didn't tear his ACL, I really like Michael Gallup from the Dallas Cowboys. I every single time I turn on the Dallas Cowboys game when they're on, he impresses me. High catch radius. He makes big plays constantly. I think he's just the total package when you look at receivers. But since he is hurt, Williams is also a guy that can go up and get the ball. Really, really good catch radius, strong hands, and I think Justin Fields and him would have a really good connection. That is, I can guarantee that. If you're just now joining the live stream, thank you so much for joining. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers, and I wouldn't be able to do it without your guys' support. And make sure you share the podcast to all the Bears fans that you know. Keep bringing the questions, and I'll try to get to all of them. Yeah, Andy, I think if J.C. Jackson, he's a big-time cornerback in this year's free agency period. Obviously, the Patriots can decide to franchise tag him, but if they don't decide to franchise tag him, I would be comfortable. I would be comfortable throwing all the money at him because now you can have J.C. Jackson on one end, Jalen Johnson, and of course you have Thomas Graham Jr. So that would be a nice, ideal move as well. Yeah, Cliff, I don't think there's any possibility for the Chicago Bears to move up, especially with only 5 picks in this year's draft. I think we need to do anything possible to trade back and gain more draft capital, especially when you really look at it. We only have 2 picks in the top 40, so it's kind of concerning. Not top 40, top 100 or something. 2 picks in the first 4 rounds, whatever they say. Someone asked, I know this is about the offseason, but rate your excitement when the Bears picked Fields. Man, if you can go back to my videos last season, I was stoked, excited, hopeful is the right word to use when they picked Fields. It's Bears fans have been looking for that franchise quarterback for years, and something about Fields, makes me confident that he will be our franchise quarterback for years to come. Cliff asks, any chance Olave drops to the second round? I hope so. Chris Olave drops to the second round. I'm running to the podium and bringing him to Chicago to pair him with his good old buddy Justin Fields. Absolutely. We can trade up. Absolutely. You can trade future draft capital or maybe use players as bait to trade up. You have to think, as it sits right now, we're pick number 39 in the second round. That's only 7 picks out of the first round. So the Bears could trade up, but then you're risking draft capital, and we need a lot of players to come in right now and hopefully contribute to this football team. So I wouldn't recommend trading up, but it's definitely possible. Don Burr, you're funny, man. You're funny, man. I appreciate you, giving me views, though, and coming in here. You guys had about, like, 20 first-round picks in the last 20 years, like, top 5. And you guys still haven't done anything. That's funny. Yeah, and Dark Vader 38, you're absolutely right. We got money to spend for free agents. No need for extra draft picks. And that's true. You can go heavy, right, offensive lineman and free agency. There's a lot of good free agent offensive linemen to bring that can help the Chicago Bears improve right now. And then when you look at the draft, maybe you can go heavy wide receiver. Maybe in the second round you stay put. You draft David Bell out of Purdue, a really good receiver, right, out of Purdue. Maybe in the third round, you can still go get extra offensive linemen. So you don't always have to, try to gain more draft capital. You could stay put if they want. Cliff asks, I have been saying trade Cohen for years. Too late now. It may be too late now because, obviously there's not a lot of tape on him. He's been hurt for the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I definitely think they're going to let him play this year. But if he doesn't come out and produce, it's going to be hard to keep Tariq Cohen. If you're just now joining the live stream, thank you so much for joining. You're new to the channel, just now finding me on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm on the road to 3K. I really appreciate if you guys can share the channel and let all the Bears fans know about KIEQ on the mic. We're super, super close to 3,000 subscribers. Yeah, offensive lineman is going to be a huge emphasis on this year's offseason. I think the Bears also need to kind of think about maybe trying to get another inside linebacker to pair with Roquan Smith. That's something that Ryan Pace struggled to do, is pair a really solid linebacker next to Roquan. Noah asked, do you think we can get more production out of Cole Kmet? Absolutely. I think that's going to be up to Luke Getsy, putting him in good situations. I think Cole Kmet has the capabilities to be a pretty solid tight end in the NFL. I feel like he's big. He has pretty good hands. And like I said, I think him and Justin Fields started to create a little bit of connection, especially down the stretch. Yeah, Akeem Hicks is probably gone. Akeem Hicks is definitely probably gone. And I said in my video the other day that I wouldn't mind keeping Akeem Hicks if he wants to, if he stays on a discount, but I doubt he's going to take a discount. Yeah, Michael, I agree. 5 picks isn't bad if you hit on all 5. It's absolutely right. They could stay put in all 5 and see if they hit gold on all 5. When you think about it, Larry Borum was a 5th, Thomas Graham Jr. was a 6th, Darnell Mooney was a 5th. So you can find talent in those later rounds. I'm hoping they try to re-sign A-Rob. Just try to re-sign him because I truly feel that he's a really good wide receiver, and if him and Justin Fields can create that connection, I think it would be a beautiful sight to see. And it's kind of hard to blame Allen Robinson because Matt Nagy was that bad at calling plays. Him and Bill Lazor both. And that's the thing that's funny about Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. They didn't keep any coaches, from Matt Nagy's coaching staff. Not even Sean Desai. Sean Desai is gone. Yeah, that's everyone's goal. I hope Justin Fields can take that next step, and that's the goal. If Justin Fields can take that next step, I think us Bears fans will be content. I think if Justin Fields does take that next step in year 2, the Bears could possibly be a playoff team. I think the Bears have a pretty decent roster. Obviously, there's some holes that need to be corrected, but with the building blocks that we have, it's exciting. Yeah, Cliff, it should be a smooth transition So 4-3 with all the indie coaches. A lot of people have been saying that we're now called the Chicago Colts. So it should be a pretty smooth transition for the Chicago Bears. Absolutely. I think your question that you're asking is, was this really George McCaskey's pick for coach? I know there's been some controversy on that. I truly feel that Ryan Poles picked Eberflus, right? Obviously, they had a list ready for him, but when they interviewed the first time, Ryan Poles made it clear that Eberflus was also on his list of head coaches that he wanted. So I think this was definitely Ryan Poles' guy. Yeah. If Rodgers and Adams leave Green Bay is officially would possibly be kind of like in like a small little rebuild. The one thing that kind of hurts Green Bay, I don't like to talk about them too much, but they're like negative 48 in the cap, right? So they're definitely in the gutter when it comes to cap space. So when you take those three things of cap space, Devontae Adams, and maybe Aaron Rodgers leaving, Green Bay may be in trouble. And that should open the door for the whole NFC North, not just the Bears. Thank you so much for all your guys' questions. Thank you so much. I'm going to stay on here for another 12 minutes. I'm usually going to just do an hour every Friday. Talk to you guys. If you guys have questions, make sure you keep going. Keep them in the comments. Noah asked, do you think we can actually get Devontae Adams? I don't know. That's that. It would be nice to get Devontae Adams, but when you really think about it, we have a lot of things that we need to address as a team. Getting one guy is great and all, but I do think we need to focus on offensive line. I think Devontae Adams is looking for about $30 million a year, and what's crazy about that is that he's almost 30 years old. So I'd be very cautious on Devontae Adams, even though he's one of the best wide receivers in the game. But 30 million is a lot. $30 million is definitely a lot. Just now joined the live stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is something that I'm going to do every Friday evening. Just come on here, answer all your guys' questions. I think it's good. I think it's good to talk to you guys on a different level than just me pre-recording episodes. You guys get to know the real me, and I get to answer your guys' questions. Cliff asked thoughts on the Vikings mishaps with their coaching process. I think it's absolutely hilarious that they were talking all that mess about getting Harbaugh and then it didn't happen. So, man, they were super excited too. It's like, oh, we're getting Harbaugh, bro, and it didn't happen. I appreciate every single one of you guys joining me for this live stream. I truly do. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now or growing the way my channel is growing without all your guys' support. I truly appreciate it. No, so what O lineman do you think we can get in free agency that will help lead this O line? Obviously, Ryan Jensen's one of them. I think his name is Brian Allen, the center from the Rams. There's a lot of good options for the Chicago Bears. That's just to name a few. I can't think every single one of them on top of my head. But the Bears have their options, and they got a good amount of money to spend. And you got to think that doesn't include the money that um, we may save by cutting players. For example, if we are able to actually find a trade partner for Nick Foles, right, we could save $8 million. I think if we cut Akeem Hicks, I think we save $4 million. So when you think about it, the money starts adding up when you start like trading players or cutting players as well to save cap space. Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is more likely to leave because what I'm hearing is that he had a really good relationship with Luke Getsy, and he asked the Packers to keep Luke Getsy, and the Packers didn't. So I think he's gone. Appreciate you, Adam. Anytime. I love giving you guys Bears content. Um, I try my best to do it as much as possible. I just found out that I'm going to be a new dad. My fiance and I are expecting in August, so I've been busy with that. Obviously, with a full-time job, so I try my best to come on here and give you guys the best content as possible. So I definitely appreciate your guys' support. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. We're having a little girl, so it's gonna be a little girl. I already got her a bunch of bear stuff to wear. She already has. She's not even here yet, and I already have got her a Justin Fields jersey. So she has to wait until she's one. But I already got a little Justin Fields jersey. There's been a lot of jokes saying, well, she's going to be a fan. Because my in-laws are fans of the Cowboys, Seahawks, and then my brother-in-law happens to be a Packers fan. And they're all saying, oh, they're going to be a fan. She's going to be a fan of our team. I said, the hell she is. She's a Bears fan already. Good one, Mike. Good one. Yeah, Paleo Chicago Bears. I agree. Eberflus, when he said he wasn't calling the plays, that earned instant respect for me because now it's not about an ego thing. Matt Nagy definitely had an ego. His pride was too big to let go of play calling duties, and now Eberflus is going to focus on just being a leader of the Chicago Bears football team. So I think that's really important. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Hicks would be. I think Akeem Hicks, if he can stay healthy and he takes a discount, I'm keeping Akeem Hicks. Every time he's on the field, he's disruptive. He makes our defense better. That's just my personal opinion now. Thank you for all the congratulations, guys. I really, really appreciate it. What's going on? If you're just now joining the stream, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let everyone else know about the podcast. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Just to let you guys know, I will be doing this or try my best to do it every single Friday. Come on here and go live. You guys can ask me questions, all that, and we'll just have a conversation every Friday night. Someone asked, do you think Matt Nagy's going to the Lions? That would be a perfect spot for him. Even though the Lions don't really need much sabotaging, they already suck. So I'm not sure if Matt Nagy can make them any worse. Someone asked, KIEQ, do you think the Bears management will tear the team apart this year or just do a mild upgrade? I think, like I said, we're not in a rebuild. I think we can compete now with some moves. So I think they're going to be doing a mild upgrade of the roster. We have a lot of building blocks. Of course, you got Justin Fields as your quarterback, Darnell Mooney, Herbert, David Montgomery, Cole Kmet. Look on the defense side, Jalen Johnson, Roquan Smith. So we have some pieces to work with, most definitely. Thank you for all the congratulations. Yeah, I'm super excited to become a dad. Super, super pumped about it. I cannot wait for her to come. And she's an August baby, so she'll be here right before the Chicago Bears season. So that means hopefully she's our good luck charm. If the Bears end up winning the Super Bowl, that means my future daughters are our good luck charm. Lions, Nagy, perfect fit. I couldn't agree more. Someone asked, what do you do for a job outside of YouTube? So outside of YouTube, obviously YouTube's not full time. I just come on here whenever I have the time to. But outside of YouTube, I live in California, so I work for the state of California. So I have a state job, and I work for the Board of Registered Nursing. So I license nurses to take their test to become nurses. Someone asked, how pumped are you to finally fixing the online? I'm super pumped. I think that's how you build strong foundational organizations, is by building up not only the offensive line but the defensive line. I think that's how you build big, good organizations. Yeah, California. I can't complain about California. I definitely can't. I've been to Chicago a couple times. I love Chicago. Definitely do. But let me tell you, California will never get as cold as Chicago. So every time we go in December, I'm just like, wow. Yeah, I think the Bears have a good chance to bring back Allen Robinson. I don't think he should be too expensive. I think maybe we can get him for the $12 to $15 million a year range, and that would be a good deal for both sides. Even though he was looking for $20 million, I don't think he's going to get that. Oh, that's cool, Cliff. That's definitely cool. You're funny, Dumber. You're funny. That's what I hear about Florida. Yep. Weather and zero state income tax. Must be nice. Yeah, do not comply. Nagy definitely sabotaged A-Rob. It's definitely done. He didn't even have an exit interview with him. Once again, I really, really appreciate all you guys. If you guys can let me know down in the comment section, would this be something that you guys would like me to do every Friday? Would you guys tune in every Friday? Just ask me questions, talk about Chicago Bears news, just have a nice conversation to start the weekend. Let me know in the comments. Paleo Chicago Bears asked thoughts on maybe taking Romeo Dubes, wide receiver from Nevada. I'm still going through my process of looking at all the talent in this year's draft, all the draft prospects, but I definitely will take a look. Oh yeah, Cliff. For example, Nagy sabotaged Trubisky and was on the way to sabotaging Fields. If they for some reason kept Matt Nagy, Justin Fields would have been screwed. Bears cannot fix everything. I think the priority is the offensive line. Offensive line and probably the secondary, to be quite honest. Of course, you need your receivers too, but I think if we're looking at priorities, you got to get the offensive line figured out. Yeah, guys, like I said, I'm going to do this every Friday. Friday at 5, as long as time permits. Obviously, with the incoming baby, obviously, time may get kind of tough becoming a new father, but I will definitely try to come on here every Friday at the same time at 5. Obviously, I'll let you guys know in the community on YouTube to let you know maybe what my topic is, what we're going to be talking about. Make sure you guys go check out my latest video that I just posted today of my mock draft 1.0 and let me know what you guys think. Comment down below in the comment section. Like always, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, or let people know about the channel and tell them to hit the subscribe button. So I'm on the road to 3K and I'm growing. This channel is growing, and I'm just so thankful for all the love and support I get from all you guys. Adam asks, what about David Bell out of Purdue? One of my favorite guys, one of my favorite receivers in this year's draft. Absolutely amazing receiver. I think he would pair really well with Darnell Mooney in this draft. I would absolutely take David Bell. I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am about to end this live stream. Usually how these live streams will go, I'll go for maybe a little bit over an hour. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you guys for future live streams, and we can do this all over again. If you have any questions for me, you can always DM me. Chris, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the donation. If you guys ever have any questions for me, you can always DM me on Instagram, and I can take those questions and I can answer them on the live stream for you guys. But thank you so much for all the support. And like always, make sure you share the channel because we're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. I want to be able to do without you guys. Does anyone have any more questions for me before I end the live stream? I'll wait for a couple minutes. Yes, I do follow other Bears channels. I actually do a lot of collaborations with different Bears channels. So I've done collaborations with Sports Talk Chicago, the Bears Necessities podcast. There's one other one, I forgot the name of it, but yes, we do collaborate together all the time. Do I have any predictions for Justin Fields' stats next year? If I had to guess Justin Fields' stats, a good season for Justin Fields would be about 32 to 3,500 yards, maybe 30 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. It would be a good season. Something that would get me really excited. If you guys don't have any more questions for me, I appreciate all you guys. Make sure you stay tuned in. There's going to be a lot of more content coming your guys' way. And hopefully we can do this again next Friday at 5 p.m. And I hope you guys have a really good weekend, and make sure you guys stay safe. And as always, bear down, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.